dress flip-flops on, singing to that highway song. Got a little naive smile, the kind that drives you out. Nothing like playing with fire, brings boy to life. Be with the fuse you light, you're good, you're dynamite. Made my
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds worth of sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. All right, 14:20 in the morning for this Saturday morning, September the 16th, 2023. Today's show is brought to you by SeatGeek.com and the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420POD at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to BellyUpSports.com and get all of the great articles and other podcasts as well at BellyUpSports.com. Lots going on there. Football seasons, college and NFL, and baseball season is always a go. Lots going on at BellyUpSports.com. And thank you very much for making us a part of your day each and every day from 1420 World Headquarters. Anyways, the Major League Baseball season, another night went through last night. A lot of more mayhem going on. There's 6 teams for 2 spots in the National League West or the National League wild card spot. There's a lot going on there, but we'll start with the divisional races a little bit in the National League. They're all but wrapped up. The Braves, obviously, they wrapped up the National League East on Tuesday night. The Dodgers wild card spot or magic number is down to 2 right now with a win tonight in Seattle and a Arizona loss or a Giants loss, and they have their playoff aspirations are going again with the Dodgers going to the playoffs again. This is only a matter of time. They can wrap it up tomorrow with just 2 more wins in Seattle. So their spot is down to 2, which is nice to see the Dodgers get back in there and try to get another World Series ring under their belt. I think that's going to be a tough road to hoe for the Dodgers. I know I picked them a while ago to win, but the way the Braves are playing right now, I don't know if that can happen. The other National League Central, I suspect the Milwaukee Brewers are going to hold on to that. They have a 5.5 game lead over the Chicago Cubs right now, and you got to think that barring a 1987 Toronto Blue Jays collapse, like we talked about the other day, that the Milwaukee Brewers will be going back to playoffs for the. They're pretty consistent playoff team, but I think that you'll see them getting in there this year again. And so the National League, basically, the divisions are all wrapped up. There shouldn't be too much drama going down the stretch for those for that spot. The American League is a little bit different. You got the last night, the Baltimore Orioles lost the Tampa Bay Rays. That's going to go right down to the final weekend of the season, I think, or the final week of the season. You have the Tampa Bay Rays. They have a bit of a tougher schedule going down to the wire. The Baltimore Orioles have a much easier schedule. They got sub 500 teams. 6 of their last 8, I think, are against sub 500 teams, or 8 of their last 9, or whatever it is. With Baltimore playing the Boston Red Sox and the Washington Nationals and the Cleveland Guardians, I think they got mixed in there as well. So that's a bit of a tough stretch, or an easy stretch for the Tampa Bay Rays or the Baltimore Orioles. I'm scrambling my words here this morning a little bit. The other side of things, I think Baltimore wins that. Yeah, the one that's going to be really intriguing, we talked about it last week a lot, was the Texas Rangers, Seattle Mariners, and the Houston Astros. Nobody really wants to grab that division by the tail, take the women and children to bed, or put the women and children to bed, go looking for dinner. You don't know how that one's all going to play out, because it's interesting to see that nobody wants to do anything and really grab the tiger by the tail. Everybody's 6-4, 4-6, 5-5 in their last 10, and other than the Texas Rangers beating up on the Jays earlier on this week, they pull up a stinker last night, and with the way that division is going to play out, I think the Astros win that one. The Astros should have taken advantage of this weekend, as they're playing the lowly Kansas City Royals, and they end up losing last night. This time of year, you can't be losing those kind of games. It's really tough to see that a Houston team with all that talent lose to a Royals team who's been playing out the string basically since June, and losing those type of games at this point of the season isn't a good thing at all. You got to think that they'll probably win the next two of the games against the Royals, but losing that game, those are games you got to win this time of year when teams are basically mailing it in and calling it good. That's a bad sign for the defending World Series champion. But I do think that the Houston Astros will come out on top in that division because just the way that they've been playing baseball and the way that they're the defending world champ. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And you have the Texas Rangers and the Seattle Mariners playing 6 out of their last 8 games, I think, or 6 out of their last 9 games against each other. So they're just going to beat each other up and nothing going to happen. So that might be a sign of something good for the Toronto Blue Jays, who had a bit of a bounce back night last night with the Boston Red Sox. It's kind of one of those things that they, if they would have won 1 or 2 of those games against the Texas Rangers, they'd be right there. They're only a game and a half out right now of that wild card spot, but you just got to think that it was not that easy for them. It's going to be a tough goal for the Toronto Blue Jays to get there because they have the Tampa Bay Rays, I think 6 out of their last 8 games. So those 2 teams might beat each other up, and that's going to be a saving grace maybe for the Seattle Mariners, and it might be a saving grace for, say, the Baltimore Orioles to see those 2 teams kind of slap each other around a little bit in the last week of the season because they got to win a bunch of those games. It just goes to show that winning games in April, we talk about it all the time, how you got to win games in April to give yourself a chance in September. And then to get in October and winning those games, we talk about it ad nauseum here at 1420 World Headquarters, that you have to, the way the Tampa Bay Rays started off their season, it's saving their season right now. They got a 10 game lead in the wild card spot, just to go show that, but they can still get a chance to win the division without that great big jump to the start to start the season. They'd be battling out just like Texas and the Toronto Blue Jays and the Seattle Mariners are right now, and the Houston Astros. Let's not count them out, how it's all played out. It's going to be interesting to see how the American League face how that all pans out and how it's going to affect the rest of the season, how it's going to affect the wild card races with those teams playing each other. It should be interesting to see. I think the World Series champs are going to get in. It's just kind of one of those things. They're too good not to get in, and they'll find a way to make it done. And Altuve's been ripping the cover off the ball lately. He's such a good player. It's too bad he was mixed up with all that other hoo-ha in 2017 and 2019. I still think he was wearing a device, and that whole don't take my jersey off because of the tattoo situation that he got a new tattoo that his wife didn't like and everything else. I thought that was kind of a ridiculous comment. Make up a better excuse than that, but whether he's wearing a buzzer or not, I'll never know. But it's really going to be interesting to see that. What's really going to be interesting to see is the National League wild card race, how that's all going to pan out. You have 5 teams going up for 2 spots right now. Even Philly, they're comfortably up by 4 games right now, but 4 games is nothing. You go on a little bit of a streak this time of year. It's going to be because you got to jump so many teams on and on. But if you go on a bit of a slump and lose 9 of 10, and all of a sudden you don't have nothing going on. And Bryce Harper, he got thrown out of the game last night by an umpire. Pitch was up, and Harper kind of got a little bit poopy pants on the call. I get it. It was a bad time to make a bad call. It was a little up in the zone, but for Harper to get thrown out of that game last night, it looked a little bit childish. And yeah, the umpire probably didn't have to. I could just walked away. But one of those things where umpires and players are going to disagree or agree to disagree on those types of situations and how they get handled on a daily basis for the test of time. I kind of miss that about the game of baseball, with no arguing this, no arguing that, and with the instant replay and everything else, and no arguing on this. And yeah, it's kind of, you miss that. So Harper, he's an old school type of player, and he got a little bit poopy pants last night with the umpire. I can't remember his name. But then the umpire, he kind of showed his true stripes by making like 9 out of the next 10 bad calls. I was reading something this morning that went against the Phillies. So he's like, screw you. And this is how it turned out. Funny how you only say screw you in the morning at 14:20 in the morning. But anyways, it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. The Cubs, the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Reds, the Marlins, and the Giants are all battling out for that last spot, or last one spot basically, unless the Phillies fall off the face of the planet. The Cubs are a game and a half up, and then the Giants are only a game back. So it's a two and a half games of separating all those teams. It's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. Can the Cincinnati Reds have been an unprecedented year, something you didn't think was going to happen with the Reds, and Ellie De La Cruz, when they brought him up, can he be the guy that turns the tide for the Cincinnati Reds? And Joey Votto has kind of been playing some pretty good baseball as of late, going to the Fountain of Youth and to see if he can get that one championship ring. They're not winning a World Series, but can they sneak in the playoffs and win 2 or 3 and get in a wild card spot? Very possible. Anything can happen that time of year. Can the Arizona Diamondbacks can they sneak their way in and make something happen out there in the desert? That's very, very possible. That Corbin Carroll is a hell of a player. Can he be that guy to drag that team to the playoffs in his rookie season? He's like I said, he's a very, very good player who's had a very, very good season. It's going to be really interesting to see how that all plays out. I suspect Philly's going to stay in there. I suspect the Cubs are going to stay in there, and I'm going to take the Cincinnati Reds to end up with that third wild card spot. I just think they're to one of those Cinderella things. Good, it's good for the sport of baseball. There's been some not so great years in Cincinnati, but having the oldest team in baseball get back in there and somebody different a little bit and get that fan base excited for the years to come and years ahead, because it's the Giants fans are going to come no matter what. Arizona fans are never going to go no matter what. So if you can have a fan base that's going to get engaged in baseball again, and the Marlins fans, they never show up anyway, so it'll be very good for baseball and for the Cincinnati fan base to get back into baseball and get back into the hunt a little bit, I guess, and to watch a playoff series, maybe get a home game if they can win a wild card round and see if them get engaged, because I don't think their football team's going to do anything, because like I said last week, screw the Bengals, right? It's one of those things, screw Joe Burrow. But I would like to see the Reds get in, and it reminds me that actually the on this day is about Cincinnati Reds. And this morning you wake up and you see that Shohei Ohtani he's trending on Twitter. It's really interesting to see that, and basically his bags are packed and he's ready to go. He's called her good for the season. They're going to announce later on today why he's calling it a season with 14 games left. I expect he's going to go and get surgery and everything else, and doesn't want to get hurt himself anymore to hurt that contract. He's going to want to take advantage of, and the $500 million or $600 million or $700 million or whatever it's going to be. But he's calling it good for the Angels, and it's sad to see that era of Ohtani baseball. I mean, it's kind of funny to see how the Angels are going to angel no matter what. Artie Moreno and the guys. I can't believe how much we talk about the Angels here, but it's one of those things when you have a very polarizing player like Shohei Ohtani out of the picture. He's done. You see you later. That's it. So the Ohtani era, I don't suspect he'll re-sign with the Angels. So you got to think the Ohtani era in Southern California is done unless he signs in the offseason with the Dodgers. But I still think he's going to Seattle Mariners. You've heard that prediction a number of times here at 14:20 in the morning. Should be a great day of baseball. Got college football happening on. NFL tomorrow. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. I'll be glued to the baseball games all day long down here at 1420 World Headquarters of the Yankee Tavern North. Hey, and the Yankees aren't done yet. They're 6 games out of a wild card spot. They're done. But, you can always hope that a big collapse happens with 4 or 5 teams and the Yankees can somehow worm their way in there, because baseball's better in the Bronx, and baseball's better when the Yankees are involved. Everybody hates the Yankees, and for Yankee fans to maybe, so you never know. It ain't over yet. Because they're playing Pittsburgh, right? They're playing the Pittsburgh Pirates right now, so there's still a shot they can sweep the weekend and then go on, and then they got the Jays for a couple, 3 I think it is, or 6. I can't remember. I got so much going on between my ears all the time. You don't know what's happening half the time, but it should be interesting. Hopefully the Yankees can make it a little bit interesting to finish the season off. We'll probably do a Yankees season or a weekend review. I haven't done one of those in a while. We'll do that tomorrow morning maybe. I got not a bunch going on tomorrow, which is nice. I have no baseball tomorrow, but yeah, should be a fun sports weekend no matter what. So there's my rant for the day. And here's a word from our friends at SeatGeek.
The foul baller. If there's a ball that's gone foul, he's gone to get it. Under his watchful gaze, all bevs, binoculars, and ballpark brats are safe. He's the only thing that stands between his section and certain destruction. That's why he only trusts SeatGeek with his tickets. The ticketing app trusted by fans. SeatGeek, so fans can fan.
There you go. There's a word from our sponsors at SeatGeek. Use promo code 1420POD at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Let's get to on this days and birthdays and all that stuff and get you guys out of here and go enjoy your Saturday wherever you may be watching on YouTube or listening later on podcast form. Thank you very much for doing that, by the way. It's greatly appreciated, all the support we got for our YouTube channel as of late. So anyways, on this day in 1988, Tom Browning of the Cincinnati Reds pitched a perfect game. The Reds 1-0 win versus the Los Angeles Dodgers in front of 16,591 people at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. Browning struck out 7 in the game. It only took 1 hour and 51 minutes to play. They actually started that game about 10 o'clock at night because of a rain delay, and then the umpire apparently had a very big strike zone. Anyways, to play as the Dodgers pitcher Tim Belcher had himself a pretty good day on the mound as well, giving up 3 hits and walking 1. Reds legend Barry Larkin scored the only run of the game after hitting a double in the 6th inning, scored on a Mickey Hatcher error off the bat of Reds third baseman Chris Sable. There's a lot of blast in the past, a lot of names from yesteryear right there. But Cincinnati Reds pitcher Tom Browning with the perfecto in Cincinnati, Ohio on this day in 1988. And the Dodgers went on to win the World Series that year. Unprecedented. They didn't think they would kind of surprising World Series championship, the one that actually only has mattered since 1988. So congratulations on this day to Tom Browning. And happy 64th birthday to retired Major League Baseball player Tim Raines, born on this day in Sanford, Florida. Raines was drafted by the Montreal Expos in the 5th round of the 1977 Major League Draft out of his hometown, Seminole High School. Raines would go on to play 13 years with the Expos, being named an All-Star 7 of those years and winning a National League batting title in 1986 before moving on to play in Chicago for the White Sox in 1991, where he played for 5 years. He then joined the New York Yankees in 96, winning 2 world championships, one in 96 and one in 98 with those great Yankee teams. Raines also made stops in Florida, Baltimore, and Oakland. He retired in 2001, I think it was. Came back for a little cup of coffee there with the Expos, and it was good to see that. But Raines hit 170 home runs, had 980 RBIs, 808 stolen bases with a career .294 batting average, and Tim Raines was inducted into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York in 2017. So happy birthday to Tim the Rock Raines, one of the all-time great Expos players. If it wasn't for Ricky Henderson, where would Raines rank on the all-time leadoff hitters list? You got to think that Raines is number 2, a solid number 2 behind Ricky. Obviously, Ricky's the greatest of all time, but Tim Raines, he was no slouch back in those Expos teams with Andre Dawson and Gary Carter, and on it went. That's some pretty good teams there in Montreal. Just couldn't put it all together with the best hats in baseball. I still think they're the nicest ones going. They should probably try to find a way to bring the Expos back or whatever it's going to be. But anyways, thank you very much for listening to today, and all the people who watched on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and wherever you watch us, and thank you very much as well to people who listen to the podcast. Make sure you guys listen to all our past ones, subscribe to our channel, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. We thank you guys for all the support you're giving us here at 1420 World Headquarters. We appreciate everything very much. Anyways, that's it for today. Have yourselves a great Saturday and a great week. And I probably won't get on the air tomorrow, but we'll see how things pan out. But anyways, thank you very much for listening today. Make it part of your day each and every day. And remember, it doesn't matter where you are. It's who you're with. Have yourselves a great Saturday, folks. And we'll talk to you on Monday. You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with sports talking a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Oh, it's root for the whole team. They don't win, it's a shame. Now it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Now let's root for the whole team. They don't win, it's a shame. Now it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the